Hi everyone. We're going to try reading with Clyde again. There's Clyde. I think he might already be asleep, but this story might wake him up. This has to do with angles, and the book is called Cumference and the Great Knight of Angleland, a math adventure, by Cindy Neuschwander, illustrated by Wayne Gehan. There's a whole series of these books that we're going to read, all about geometry. More than anything, Radius wanted to be a knight. Every day he practiced riding, sword fighting, and archery. His teacher was the brave old Sir Degrees. One day, Radius's parents, Cumference and Lady Di of a meter, came to watch his lessons. "Show us what you've learned," they said. In the riding ring, Radius mounted his horse, and Sir Degrees gave directions. "Knightly, right angle, trot," shouted Sir Degrees. Radius rode his horse at a trot to the center of the ring and made an exact right angle turn. It formed a perfect corner. "Now, double the right angle to make a straight line," called out Sir Degrees. Radius rolled out in a full gallop straight across the ring. He came to an abrupt stop in front of his parents. "Wonderful!" they exclaimed. "You've learned so much." At supper, Sir Degrees said, "Radius is the best squire I have ever taught, and he's ready to go on a quest." "He's not old enough," said Cumference, looking worried. Lady Di smiled. "You were the same age, dear, when you went on your first quest." Radius sat up straighter. "I'm ready, Father," he said. "Please let me go." Cumference slowly looked at each one of them. Finally, he smiled and nodded. "Hooray!" shouted Radius. "I will make you proud. But how shall I find someone in need of help?" "Our neighbor, King Lel, has disappeared," Sir Degrees answered. "Many have set out to find him, but none has returned." "I will search until I succeed," promised Radius. The next morning, Radius was ready to go. "Remember your nightly right angle, Radius," counseled Sir Degrees. "It will serve you well." Cumference and Lady Di gave Radius an old family heirloom, a medallion in the shape of a perfect circle. "What are the numbers on the edge of the medallion?" Radius asked. "No one knows," Lady Di answered. "May it bring you courage on your journey." So here, hopefully y'all recognize what this half is. Radius bid them farewell and set off. "I'm on a quest," he exclaimed gleefully. Radius rode for many days through the countryside. One day he came upon a tiny village where all the cottages had rooftops pointed in steep angles. "What a quaint little town! Mother would call it cute." He asked a villager about King Lel. Why do you think they would call this town cute? Think of our angles here. "His castle lies beyond the mountain of Obtuse," said the villager, pointing east. "But take heed, mountains of Obtuse. But take heed. There are tales of strange creatures and dangerous labyrinths. No one traveling there has ever returned." "I hope to be the first," said Radius. "Farewell and thank you." Up and down through the mountains of Obtuse, Radius rode eastward. Finally, Radius came upon a walled castle, surrounded by a watery moat. He rode cautiously into the drawbridge. It creaked and groaned with every step. As he neared the middle, the drawbridge began to crumble. Quickly, Radius urged his horse across. Just as they reached the other side, the old drawbridge collapsed into the water with a tremendous splash. Whew, that was close, Radius exclaimed. He rode through the high gates of the castle. In the courtyard, Radius saw a parchment hanging from the door. He took the parchment and read the fading writing. Warning, stranger, friend or foe, dangers await as forth you go. You must take a knightly right. Find next, big, straight, and slight. One wrong turn means loss to all, in a writhing, screaming fall. And the right to reach the king, or you will feel the dragon's sting. The brothers Zig and Zag. What can this mean, thought Radius, clutching his medallion for courage. He rode through the doorway into a circular chamber. In the middle of the stone floor, Radius could see a carved circle with a line across its center. All around him, arches led to different rooms. Which way should I go? He wondered aloud. He read from the parchment. You must make a knightly right, Sir Degrees, and I practice many right turns. Then something flapped out of the shadows and bumped his arm. Oh! Grunted Radius, and his medallion went flying. The medallion rolled away and came across a stop on the curved stone circle. Radius noticed that the number 90 pointed directly toward one of the arches. Starting at 0 on my medallion, if I go to the center, then to the number 90, it forms a right angle. That's the knightly right, he cried. Radius swung himself back on his horse and rode through the arch that was the knightly right, or 90 on the medallion. The way was dark and damp. Around him, unseen things scuttled in the corners. By the light of a flickering candle, Radius read the parchment again. Finding next, big, straight, and slight. What's big, he wondered? Could it mean something even larger than a knightly right angle? He thought for a minute. The mountains of Obtuse were shaped like big angles, he remembered, and the Radius looked away for a way out. Spiderwebs caught in his hair, tickling legs brushed against his face. Again, Radius saw several hallways. Each had a circle carved in front of it. If I hold the medallion over a circle, then the numbers measure the angle to the hallway. The angle of the first hallway measured 55 degrees on the medallion. As Radius measured the angle of each hallway, he found only one that was bigger than a right angle. One angle measured 120 on the medallion. Radius entered that hallway, but ended in a curving stairway. Radius dismounted and told his horse, "Wait, stairs are no place for you. Stay right here, I'll come back as soon as I can." The stairway down was narrow and deep. I must be under the castle by now, Radius thought. He noticed that further down he went, the hotter it was. The stairs came to an end at a fiery pit where huge flames leaped up like angry, snapping jaws. 2 bridges spanned the inferno. They both started from the same spot, but they crossed the fire pit at different angles. After big, the parchment read straight, Radius remembers. That's 180 on my medallion. You can't get an angle straighter than that. He took a deep breath, ran across the bridge, and went straight over the roaring fire. On the other side, Radius heaved a sigh of relief. He opened the heavy door and entered the dark tunnel. The door clanged shut behind him. Raspy snuffling came from deep in the darkness. 4 glowing eyes appeared and began moving slowly toward them. Clutching his medallion, Radius hurtled down the tunnel. As he passed the eyes, he brushed against the scales and felt like a cold chain mail. Radius ran blindly on, stumbling on the floor, starting to slope upwards. Behind him, heavy thumps echoed in the darkness. The tunnel ended. Other tunnels shot off into different directions. In front of each was a carved circle glowing with its own light. The parchment says a slight angle. Radius mumbled, like the rooftops of that cute little village I passed through. A cute little angle is what I need. Something less than 90 on the medallion. The smallest angle measured 40, so he turned there. The thumps grew louder. Something snuffled and sniffed as if hunting for him. Radius ran through the darkness. Next, be the right to reach the king. Another nightly right angle of 90. At least that's the last angle will be easy, he gasped. He was wrong. In the deep light, he came across 4 corridors, which all seemed to be right angles. Fingers fumbling, he measured quickly with a medallion. 90, 90, 90, 90 again. Slow down, Radius told himself, and measure once more. He carefully lined up the medallion and read the numbers. The first was 93. Too big, he said. The next angle was 85. Too small, he muttered. The third was 89. Almost right, he said. Then there was a great whooshing sound. Thick smoke filled the tunnel. Radius was caught in a dark cloud, coughing, sputtering. He felt his way along the remaining corridor. I hope this is the one, he whispered. Thump, 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 thump. Something was lurching toward him. He stumbled. Suddenly, Radius ran into the wall of stone. He was trapped. The thumbling grew louder. Whatever it was big, and it was right behind him. Radius turned around and stood with his back against the wall. His arm bumped into a latch, a handle. He pushed with all of his strength, and the door swung open. Brilliant sunshine welcomed his eyes. Welcome! A voice bellowed. Who might you be? Radius squinted in the brightness. I am Radius, son of Cumference and Lady Di of Ameter, and squire to Sir Degrees. I am searching for King Lel. Well, it seems you have found him, chuckled the king. But how did you know to do it? Radius bowed. My medallion helped me figure out what path to take. Knowledge gave me the courage to keep on going, he explained. But there were frightening things in there. A whimpering came out from behind the door. King Lel opened it wider. Radius jumped back. Dragons, he gulped. A pair of them. They are my loyal pets. The Lel dragons, explained the king. He scratched their heads. The poor beasts and I were trapped in the maze by my evil cousins Zig and Zag. But we are free now that you have found the way through the labyrinth. Young squire, he continued, anyone brave enough and smart enough to figure out that maze deserves his knighthood. With the Radius medallion, they easily found their way back through the maze. To celebrate King Lel's freedom, invitations were sent to all the neighboring knights and ladies. Cumference and Lady Di of Ameter, even Sir Degrees came. King Radius and King Lel went to the moat to greet each group of guests. When King Lel whistled and called out, Pair of Lels, the 2 dragons stretched across the moat, side by side. They became a living drawbridge for the guests to cross. Everyone asked Radius how he found his way through the maze. I discovered the secret of the medallion, Radius said. The numbers divide a circle into 360 degrees. I can use those parts to measure any angle. I call the parts of the circle degrees in honor of my teacher, Sir Degrees. Radius drew a picture of his medallion and took an arrow from his quiver. Let's say this arrow points to a hallway. The number shows how many degrees there are in the angle. Or actually it would be this way because the 0 is here. A right angle measures 90 degrees. A straight line measures 180 degrees. I call angles bigger than 90 degrees obtuse, after the mountains of Obtuse. Angles smaller than 90 I call acute. They look like the roofs of a small village I traveled through. King Lel told Radius to kneel. For your bravery and intelligence, I knight you Sir Radius, the king proclaimed. From this day forward, let this kingdom be called Angleland. Banners will fly from every castle tower. They shall show the nightly right angle of 90 degrees, small acute angles, large obtuse angles, and a straight angle of 180 degrees. Rise now, great king, great knight of Angleland. The crowd cheered, and Radius rose to greet them. Angleland was the only kingdom to have a castle with a living drawbridge. The cry, "Parallels!" brought the two dragons over the moat. They became so famous that today, parallel means any straight line side by side, the same distance apart, like the Lell dragons. Angleland is still there on very old maps, but today we call it England. Oh, and it actually comes with a little medallion with the 90 degrees, so this half would be a protractor. All right, I hope you all enjoyed it. Maybe it helps you a little bit with angles, and I think that Clyde, let's see if I can wake him up here. Where's his face? There it is. Can you say, have a good day? Oh, I think he's too tired. All right, guys. Have a good day.